Hi guys, I'm Amanda Clinton, and I'm gonna do the reading assignment too. Sorry, I'm just a little awkward, but whatever. Um, so for number one, are the ideas still relevant for today's organizations? Talking about Fail, Weber, and Taylor. I think I probably said his name wrong, but whatever. Ow, I have a cat that's attacking me, so sorry if you hear her. So if you ask me if these ideas are still relevant today, I would say yes. The way that Weber kind of criticized organizations was that they ran like a family, and I do still believe that some organizations do kind of ran like that. It just kind of depends on like what you're talking about. That they had the rigid and sorry, I'm looking at notes. That they were more rigid and stuff like that, and that companies, like the employees, needed to be more loyal, like that they were more loyal to their bosses and not the company. And I do feel like that is some issues that still happen today where it does seem like your employees care more about like bosses instead of companies, and they try to like tend to them more. So I do feel like that does still happen today. With Taylor's, he like even what the little article said, it was like he had management theory, and it was also called classical management to emphasize. It was much like Weber's, according, but he instead of scolding employees, he wanted to reward them. So you see that even today, like people get raises, bonuses. With our case study, that people used to go like New Orleans for a weekend or something like that. So I do feel like that does still happen today as well, with different bonuses, raises, whatever. And then with Taylor, he had the 14 principles, and kind of what I've heard other people saying. It's not like, oh, like you have to go through these 14 principles. It's just more so like utilize, and people just kind of do it through authority, discipline, stop, and things of that nature. So I do feel like people still kind of go through those structures of management without even realizing it. Get off my keyboard. So to move on to question number 2. What areas are similar and different with the classical theorist? So with Taylor and Weber, basically they had a lot of the same ideas and same concepts. It's just Weber was more of scolding and discipline, where Taylor was more like awarding, trying to, how can we make the company better, what, so on and so forth. And then what was it, his name? And Taylor, it wasn't, yeah. And then the fail dude, the 14 principles, he was more trying to make principles, but even with the principles, they still intertwine with the other two's decisions and choices. But he was more so like, in my opinion, focusing on these different principles of management as a whole that we do still use today. Number 3, what are your major criticisms of classical approaches to organizational communications? So I do feel like these issues are more like addressed to the classical times, the classical periods, even though we do still use a lot of the same theories and a lot of the same information that they had back then. I just feel like it was more like we have more of a system now opposed to like what they had back then, and it's not as like rigid. Even like Weber was saying, it's not as rigid. It's more like you come in, you have a boss, manager, supervisor, whatever. They kind of teach you like this is how we want things ran, and then you do it, and then throughout time and progress, like you can become like a trainer or anything like that nature. So I do feel like it's more of like, depending on the business, it's more like this is what we want from you, and then how can you present it. So I feel like there's more set rules and more like a system opposed to like what they had before. And then why is it important to examine these theories from a different time period? Is because it's always a learning process. You can always learn from the past in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So it's always important to see how you can grow, and how, as a company in general, how you can grow. And it's always important to learn from the past, so that way that in the future you can better yourself, better your company, better anything. So that's why I feel like in general it is important to learn from these theories, because from these theories alone we have developed a system. So without that, I mean, you know, yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry that my cat was attacking me at certain points. So, bye.